Belarus should face same sanctions as Russia in event of invasion, says European Union.
Here's a summary of the article.
Ukraine has called for the EU to impose sanctions against Russia immediately, and has won the support of at least one member state, amid skepticism that a proposed summit between Vladimir Putin and Joe Biden can avert a Russian military invasion. At a meeting of EU foreign ministers in Brussels, Ukraine's foreign minister, Dmytro Kuleba, had the backing of the Lithuanian government as he argued the bloc should hit the Kremlin with sanctions now. This includes not only political messaging, political signals, but also some very specific acts like supporting the development of our defense sector, supporting Ukraine's cybersecurity, imposing some of the sanctions. We believe that there are good reasons, good and legitimate reasons, to impose at least some of the sanctions now to demonstrate that the European Union is not only talking the talk about sanctions but also is walking the walk. Josep Borrell, the EU's foreign affairs chief, said the EU would support Ukraine, at the most critical moment, if this happens, in a sign of the general support among member states for holding back on sanctions for now. The EU has threatened severe costs and massive consequences in the event of a further Russian incursion into Ukraine. We do not need to wait for a military attack. I can tell you Ukraine is already under attack. First of all, economically. Its economy is already facing huge challenges that are not of Ukraine's making, they were forced on Ukraine. To add to that, the terror campaign. You have to imagine the country is surrounded by a foreign army that is threatening invasion that is already putting a lot of pressure on Ukraine.
This post received a score of 53,000, with an upvote ratio of 93%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
How much do they get from the EU?
Google says,
there are a lot of imported goods that come to Russia from the EU via Belarus. That French cheese now becomes Belarusian, so no longer subject to Russia's import ban from the EU. However, the EU does not ban cheese exports to Russia and there is no real reason to do so with Belarus. More interesting to look at technical components.
They won't take it seriously unless we call it super sanction.
Because Belarus president said super nuclear the other day, so topical. I am proud of myself for staying on top of the news to understand this reference.
Wasn't Belarus already sanctioned for kidnapping a plane?
Yes it is, but sanctioned isn't just one specific thing. This would mean stronger sanctions against Belarus than what are currently in place.
I declare sanctions.
How many would you like to declare this evening, sir?
So far I declare 2 sanctions, both Russia and Belarus.
I think the president of Belarus, Lukashenko, purposely got his country involved in the Ukraine crisis. The constant threat of war distracts the people of Belarus from the country's problems and sanctions become the convenient scapegoat instead of Lukashenko's mess-ups. Lukashenko was facing mass protests recently from the 24th of May 2020 to the 25th of March 2021.
And guess who helped violently end those protests? You guessed it, Russia.
One hand washes the other.
Greater than. Support among member states for holding back on sanctions for now. I don't understand what they're waiting for. Were Luhansk and Donetsk already considered lost to Russia since 2014? Is that why this opening move by Putin is not drawing a larger reaction? If Russia's military crossing Ukraine's border is not a suitable threshold for defining the start of a military invasion, then what is?
Everyone has already ruled out sending troops to Ukraine, so sanctions are about as far as they can go. If they apply maximum sanctions now, while Russia has only sent troops to rebel-held areas, then there is no additional cost to Russia just rolling over the rest of the country and installing a puppet government in Kiev. Holding off on further sanctions until there is further escalation at least makes any decision to go past the rebel-held areas more painful.
EU could go so far as to cut off all Russian gas, freeze, disown every Russian oligarchy asset in Europe and ban trading with Russia full stop. Complete collapse of Russian economy and government. They're not putting in lighter sanctions now because they don't want to impose those hardline kinds of sanctions later, because that costs money. Not only as in rich European banker money, as an average European citizen getting 10% inflation and 500% increase in power, fuel cost money.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.